Where is the dilemma of fracturedism or duality? In lack of what is termed in a religious sense love. No one on this planet practices love. Hear this. Because if you did, you wouldn't be here. Your definition in duality of what love is not true. To you, love is finding security to fend off the inevitable death that you at this perception think is real and refuse to look at. Love can be nothing else but that to you. Finally, bottom line. Love, finally, taking out the ideas you have about it in regard to moonlight, graspation, copulation, whatever else you think occurs in love. Love is finally only communication. I want to say this again, and I said it before. It is finally only my ability to communicate to you who I am. You see? If we share Romeo and Juliet symphony that's playing now in totalness, you and I are totally in love. How could we help but be? We are energizing and feeling the same responses spiritually that occur in us as we recognize that we are one thing. That we are finally only one thing. You see? That's what love is. Does it have to do with coupling? Not really. You could walk into the United Nations tomorrow, and if everybody could suddenly communicate with each other, all war would cease. Everybody would immediately give of themselves and become whole. Of course. Okay. Your inability to love or communicate is because of your inability to see who you are. You think you have to protect something, and you walk around trying to protect it. You think that there's an element in you that has to defend itself. What do you defend yourself against? Huh? Why are you afraid? Huh? What are you afraid of? What is it? Why are you fearful? You can't love because you're fearful. You can't love because you don't know that I'm you. The difference in you and I right now is I can extend to you and know that you're me, and I love you totally and absolutely, I assure you. And the only manner in which I can do that is by knowing that you're me. Because I must love myself first before I can love you. It won't work any other way. If I have a residual of doubt in me through a non-awakening, or because I haven't become whole, that somehow I'm not okay, it is impossible for me not to project that onto you. It can't be done. You see? That's why we teach that all judgment is self-judgment. What else could it be but that? Who else could you judge but yourself? If you judge yourself falsely, you will automatically judge everything outside yourself all the time. Instead of extending the truth of you from you, you will project it from you in your isolation. You see? If you look at me now and say there's some sort of a weird guy standing up there with a dirty shirt on and no socks and he's waving his arms around, I wonder who he is. What have you done? You've identified yourself. Have projected out from yourself, and everything that you've accumulated in your brain, which is a facsimile about this level of consciousness, you are trying to correlate to determine who I really am. So, what do? We start with a premise, and you start with this premise right now, and put everything else aside. Either everything I'm saying to you now is absolutely true, or there's no truth in it. Now what are you going to do? Now can you judge? Aha, I got you. Now your mind's going to go, oh, that can't be. Some of the things he says might be okay, but then some of the things I think that he might say might not be okay, because some of the things he says are Spinoza, and some of them are Neoplatoism, and some of them are probably Kant, and some of them are Jesus Christ or Buddha. or Dr. Fu Manchu, or whoever the hell else you think is influencing your thinking. That's absurd. All you're doing is you're just categorizing in your mind at this level what you think is true. Since you don't know who you are, you can't possibly judge anything here. It's absolutely impossible. If you have an opinion about something, it's wrong. Because the earth is wrong. No truth here. Impossible. No justice here. Impossible. Unless you will allow it to be. Unless you will allow it to be true. Unless you will allow it to be just. Through your own purity. Through your own innocence. Through your coming to know who you are. Through your establishment of your invulnerability and your power. Through your surrender. Through your translation or transformation. No other way. Is that religious? I don't know. I told you earlier, religion today on earth is a science, not a religion, not a returning, not a recollection, not a coming back to who you are. You're evolving. You conceive that you're evolving, therefore you must evolve to something. If there's something, you must have been there originally. If you can conceive of it, it must be true. Astounding. Astounding idea. You have it now in your mind. When you go out of here today, you remember you have chosen to be what you are. Okay? There is no outside force that is making you the way you are. It's impossible. Do you have it? Yeah, but how do you facilitate it? Yes.
Then I've chosen not to know what I am.
Well, why would you do that?
I don't know.
No, you don't believe me. No, you don't believe that you have a choice. So now you've identified yourself as self and told me you've chosen not to know. No, if you knew, you would know automatically because it's transformative.
But when you say you, are you not referring to me as a personality, or are you referring to me as God?
Do you know me and love me absolutely as being you?
No.
Okay, well, I get that. When you do, then you'll know. Remember, it's still your idea. You are now expressing an idea from some state of judgment that you have made. It's not true. It's very difficult. Because every time you express yourself, you're only coming from where you are. I say to you absolutely, and I want you to hear this, this is the most important thing you'll ever hear, there is no such thing as individual personalities. You hide on this earth because you think you're different from me. You're not. You got a boil on your rear? Huh? You hide something. I'm not going to let you know that something is wrong. I don't care. There's no secrets here. What is it you would keep secret? That you're lustful, that you're dirty, that you're blah. No, that isn't true. We share a totally common heritage of truth. You are on earth because you're hiding. Those of you who think that you are on a spiritual path to the extent that you strive to do good and that, let me say this to you. You're actually hiding. You are afraid of the truth. Because the truth will make you whole. And if you become whole, it will be unto all things. And you will lose your individuality. Listen to me. When you totally come to know that you are God, you will still be just as you are now. Remember, there's only one consciousness. You have an idea that in your transformative process that you're not going to know who you are. Or that the death process, because you equate it with no thing, will stop your identity. It won't. It won't. You can't leave consciousness. You can't die. This is very fundamental to everything that we teach. You are here solely because you think you're going to die. That's why you're on earth, huh? No other reason. You think you can die. You can't. It's astonishing to me that a reductionist could hear that kind of music and think that was a bunch of notes that were here, and somebody at this level put them together somehow, I don't know how, and it turned out to be something that everybody could communicate and understand, rather than recognizing that contained in every entity is the totalness of perfection that is manifest to the degree that they are able to manifest it. And that includes literature and music and poetry and art and science and whatever you do to extend the truth from you to what it really is. Is that divine? Of course it's divine. Okay. Is this cup divine? What else would it be but divine? This cup is spectacular. This cup is whole unto itself. This cup is finally what your idea of this cup is. If I say to you in truth and in love and in gendered energies that this is the Holy Grail, you go, oh, that is the Holy Grail. Now you've changed your mind about this cup. I feel that? Oh, you found it. What you've been looking for all of your life. Here it is. One sip of this elixir of life and you become whole and total. Is what I just said to you true? Of course. Totally true. Now what have you done? You've transformed your idea about what this is. You have changed your mind about what you think it is. What is the transformative process but changing your mind about something? Finally, you keep changing your mind and letting go and giving up and going through this spiritual progress until you end up at a single truth. You will come to know what the single truth is by figuring out that you can't know what it is and giving up to the nothing that it is for you at that moment. And that's the truth. Well, now we have the dilemma of a fractured earth. We have the dilemma of the reality that appears to be in the body. That this is so, that this is true. We have the dilemma of the terrible chaos of war and starvation and defense and anger and remorse and recrimination and all of the other ugly, incredible things that you carry around in your mind because of your inability to forgive yourself and come to know who you are. You share mutual pain with other entities who hope that things are going to work out, that things will come to pass, that'll be okay here. My dear one, you cannot perfect an illusion. I have said it many times to you, and I say it again. The fault of the earth is the conception of the earth. The fault of the earth is your idea about it. Is there a remedy for duality? How would you, by a process, remedy the conception of duality? How about the Beatitudes? Let's take Christianity. Let's take Jesus Christ. If he stood up and said the things that you do not do, that if you do, you'll find the kingdom of heaven, that's a true statement. Out of transpersonal psychology, where we were dealing, let's deal with the fact that you resist evil. He said, resist not evil. Blessed are the poor in spirit. You're not poor in spirit. You resist evil. Okay. Of course, that's why you're here, because you do those things. Now, you will immediately defend yourself in that regard because you think you're you, and that's where you fail. You see? Do you see that? The admonition to resist not evil means literally resist not evil. It doesn't mean resist a little bit. What did you do? You judged what was evil and what wasn't. I say to you, detach completely and defend yourself against nothing. So did Christ. Okay. You go through life trying to prove something to somebody. You go through your life until you find death, attempting to validate yourself. I must be worth something. I've got a doctor's degree in Humpty Dumptiness, or whatever you have. I'm this. I went to school. I did this. I can prove that. You ever watch people walk into a room and everybody presents who they are? You know, they don't know. They have no idea who they are. Huh? What a terrible dilemma. Then they go to the secret of their own closet and they're all down inside the sand. I'm not that way. I've had to go out and pretend. I wish I could be like them. They think that they don't. Nobody does. There is not a single winner on the planet Earth, I positively guarantee you. You go outside yourself and say, I wish I could be like. That's absurd. There aren't any winners. What's going to happen to them? They're going to get old and their nose is going to rot off. Huh? What are they going to do? The children are going to leave them. They're going to grow up. Everything crumbles. There's no reality here. Do you think that there's a God that would have anything to do with this planet? Come on, you made it up. Huh? You don't know who you are. You're going to protect yourself and pretend there's a force outside of you that's causing this to occur to you. There isn't. Just your idea. We're back to ideas again. You have a false idea of who you are. And that's what the problem is. Communication. How do I communicate? Have I said one single thing to you that you don't already know? No. Is it possible for me to say anything to you that you don't know? No. You have limited the amount that you think you know. You know everything. I absolutely guarantee you, you know everything. You got yourself at this level of consciousness squeezed down. You're blind, deaf, and dumb. You're an embryo, and you've gone outside yourself and found these other little things, and they correlate into self. You know, let's take your personality to God. That's absurd. You're not real. No wonder you're in desperate pain. That's painful. See, what's happened with you, there's a maturation process that's gone on cellularly in your symbiotic relationship in your body. And suddenly you're looking around and you see that you're different. You're thinking different than other people around you. You go, something must be wrong with me. So why don't you go to another insane earthy, and he'll give you some medication that maybe can keep you insane. Huh? Don't wake up. Mm-hmm. Or go about halfway and say, I'm perfectly willing to accept that there are some divine spirits above us, but after all, we must stabilize this insanity. Huh? Isn't it strange? Somewhere along the line you qualify yourself. If you didn't, you'd be in heaven. You see? You're choosing this. You're choosing to be self rather than God. Isn't that amazing? Huh? I stand here as some sort of a light for you, like a beacon, an energy beacon. That's what Christ is. Christ is what you will be. So there's energies that flow out of me in truth simply because I have arrived at a truth that's the truth. You already know it too. So you look at me and say, oh, that's true. All of you here are avatars. All of you here are stand at the omega point looking at this. You are awakening from your dream. You see that this is not true. Try that. Try that. Everything that can possibly occur to you as you remember it has already occurred, of course. There's nothing new. There's no idea that you could possibly have that has not happened. Huh? If it weren't, then we'd run out of things finally. It would go to an end. Time would be linear. There is no linear time. You were never born and you cannot die. Hello, isn't that spectacular? Oh, I wouldn't want that to be. Why not? Oh, what have you done? You've identified with body. You think this is real. I think that's real. It's not. Your idea about it. The energies that you feel in this room as you meditate and as you have quiet times are individually responding in you by definition. Don't look at anyone else. That means nothing. Where are you with it? Where are you judging it? Where are you allowing yourself to come to the truth? Remember that everything I'm saying to you is true or false. If you choose to reject at this moment everything that I'm saying to you, let me see you do it. You can only then reject yourself, and you cannot possibly go to nothing. It's impossible. There is no such thing as no thing. Try it. Try to die. Sit there alone. I'm going to die. I'm determined I'm going to die. And you try and die. No, you're still here. Think of the most ugly, awful, incredible skulls. That you go ahead, look at death. That's a great process. Let me say this to you. You cannot discover that you're eternal until you look at death. The process of transformation is a process of going through death to know that you can't die. Did you know that? That's what it is. It's expressed in exoteric Christianity as, being born again and all of the other things that go with it. I assure you that it's true. These entities that you see die in the consciousness and then perhaps are resuscitated have reached a little beyond and come back with the stories of truth. There's more to it than that, but they're in truth. When you go through your transformative stage, you will literally see the light. What do you think seeing the light is? That's a real light. Just as they report in the death process. You don't believe that. That's why you're here. You don't think you can do that. That's why we teach die. That's why we teach look at death. That's why we show you, please look down the line and see that you're in a nursing home dying of old age at this moment. And you've shut that aside. You're pretending that's not true. You're pretending that all the people didn't starve to death either. You're saying there's nothing I can do about that. I'll hang on to myself. And you're going to fail. If you attempt to stay in self, you will fail and you'll grow old and you'll die and you'll have pain. I say to you, you don't have to do that. That you will refuse to play the game of death that is played here at this level of consciousness, on this earth, on this planet, and decide to transcend it, and that you may do it at this moment. Not only that, but you can only do it at this moment. Come on. There you go. Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is not a thought process. This is not a process of thought, is it? Because thought requires self-identification. You will fail automatically if you establish yourself and attempt to cleanse it or attempt to do it. It won't work. You know what happens to you? You engender a lot of energies up here, then you pull them down and make magic out of them. That's what occurs. You mean to say that there really is a power right here now? You can call it God if you want to, or don't call it God. I don't care what you call it. Call it something you don't know anything about that's here because you're conscious. It's just above you and it energizes. And it's right here now, and you can reach up and get that. From a religious standpoint, it's like saying I only see God when I go to church on Sunday, and if God is not here now, he's nowhere. If there's a power in the universe, it's here. It wouldn't be anywhere else. Where else would it be but here? It's with you all the time. Is it possible to reach up and come to know that? Sure. Mm-hmm. That's the process that you're going through in your body now. That's the transformative process that's occurring in you. Oxygen. Real deep. Don't analyze it. You are in a process of awakening. And boy, does that feel good if you really come to know that. One day you'll be standing alone, and the thought will come to you that there really is a power working on you to cause a change to come about in you, and you'll go, all right. I assure you that it's true. I assure you that it's happening to you. I assure you that it's happening despite anything that you do. I assure you that everything that occurs in your life, all the pain, apparent sorrow, apparent love, apparent joy, all identification in yourself leads you to one single truth, okay? That you are in a process of awakening. I define the earth as a hatchery, okay? Or an embryo stage, a cocoon stage that you are going to evolve to truth from. That's precisely what it is. It has no value unto itself at all. You may stay in the nursery as long as you choose to, or you may leave it at this moment. Are the birth pangs a little painful? I suppose. But you're going to get jerked out into the light whether you want it or not. It's very joyous. Huh? What's it finally an admission of? That you're powerless. That you have nothing to say about what goes on here. Not only that you have nothing to say and are powerless, but that everything is okay, and that the more powerless you are, the more strength you'll have. Ha ha ha. Even unto your own surrender and death, at which time you will have total strength. Ha ha ha. That sounds familiar. This isn't real. You're dreaming. Wake up. Wake up. You want to leave right now? Go ahead. You feel suddenly responsibility. You feel suddenly, gee, I created these things and I'm responsible for them, and maybe I better stick around for a little while. Maybe I better stick around and go through another death or two before I finally come to know that you're responsible for nothing here on earth. Nothing. You're free. You have created in your own illusion false responsibility in order to establish your own security, dummy. You've made it up. It's tough. So all the other things that you've made up outside of you are going to attack you if you dare walk around and say, yeah, be free, be easy, let her go. Be happy. Woo. Huh? You can't hurt me. Woo. Everybody's going to come after you. No, they won't. You know why? Because you're going to come to truth. Remember this, you're not the judge of your own motivations, so fail. The times of your greatest success, I assure you, have been the times that you thought you failed. You have absolutely nothing to say or equate with a perfect template that sits here that's pretty. You can't arbitrate it, you can't negotiate with it. What do you do with it? Surrender to it. Oh, come on, that's weak. I'm going to accept that nonsense. Let that pour in spirit. Theirs is the kingdom of, I don't believe that. Nobody believes anything that's said by everybody. Everybody who's awake and says the same thing, and the people who aren't awake and don't believe it, and that's why they're not awake. Isn't that amazing? I say to you in truth that I recognize that you are me totally in slowness. That you are a part of me that is here, that is not awake. And I don't mean to imply hierarchies, because there isn't any such thing. I know positively that you're perfect. Absolutely, positively. There is no part of me that does not accept your perfection. Okay. Remember, if there were, that would mean that I am not perfect myself, or do not believe that I am, and have therefore projected out from myself that insecurity or corruption or duality. The truth is within you and nowhere else, and you are coming to know that is true. So are the quantum physicists. coming to know finally that as they experiment, they change the experiments by their thoughts. Astounding, isn't it? They come to know that finally everything is subjective. That's a horrible idea. They appear to look at things and finally they discover that they made the whole thing up themselves. The entire universe is a single thought. It could be nothing but that. There is either perfect unity in everything that you can conceive, or there is perfect chaos. Not perfect, yeah, it would be perfect unto itself if it were possible. There is nothing in between. Some things are not in unity and some things chaotic. That is impossible. If you believe it, it is why you are here, because you are looking at it at a slow speed. You're looking at it in dimness. You're looking at it crunched, with your consciousness not expanded to where you can see the truth. Be of good cheer, you can't fail. Been in failure. The expression, let those that can hear, hear, always comes to mind. Because as I look, I see where you are with these particular thoughts or energies that I'm giving you. The process cannot fail because you cannot fail. Any perception you have of yourself that is not perfect or divine is not real. Find your peace of mind from that. I don't know how you can deal, as your consciousnesses begin to expand, with the intense apparent injustice and pain and greed that goes on at this level of consciousness and self-identification. The travail that ensues as your energies awaken can be very intense. You have a tendency to defend yourself finally. And you say, I'm entitled to something, aren't I? And you know what I answer to that? My dear friend, you are entitled to everything. Why do you settle for just something? And you say to me, I'll be perfectly happy if I can just have a little. And I say to you, no, you won't. How can you be happy with something that keeps changing? Every time you think you have it right, it's gone. Oh, it's terrible. There is only a single truth, and you are it. Therefore, be joyous. Why not? Sure. A lot of people get into eros. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. The problem is tomorrow you don't die. You eat, drink, and be merry if you choose. But remember, everything is cause and effectual in space-time. You never escape consequences of your acts, which are finally your thoughts. Therefore, you never escape consequences of your thoughts. Are you taping this? It just flows. But what about it, you're saying? Which literally means there are no idle thoughts, and everything that you think you're responsible for. If that is true and 30,000 people starved to death last night, you must be responsible for their deaths, and you are by your conception of their death. Amazing. True. Did they really die? Of course not. That's absurd. There is no death. Be of good cheer. You would not be here if you had not already won. The path of coming to truth is a path of becoming true. There is no truth here, only becoming true. And each time you become truer, you exalt more in the realization of your own freedom from the nursery. You put away your toys, and you understand that you're a creator. And that as you extend the idea of who you are, you become more godly. And as you become more godly, You extend more from you and become what, finally? Universal consciousness, of course. Will you feel differently when you're universal consciousness than the way you are now? No. The only difference will be that everything that you say will be true. And there will be no opinions about it. That's what heaven is. Or it will be totally false, because it cannot be in between.
If everything you say is true, then why say anything?
I just don't believe it.
No, I don't mean no.
I didn't, I'm not. The moment that you actually believe everything I say is true and know it to be so, you won't be here either, because I'm not here. I'm only here by your conception of me. I stand in the middle of your dream. I've disrupted the fabric of your consciousness, and I'm saying, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up. It's that simple. Never mind your ideas about it. None of them are true. Period. How could they be? You're not true. It seems simple. Too simple. You say to me, if I'm not true, I may as well die in that beer. I'll say, okay, do that. Then you're getting close. Well, I don't think I'll die yet. Instead of that, I better go home and pay the milk bill. Aha. See, isn't that funny? Finally, the all fourth level consciousness and equivocation. It's the in-between stage of maturation, starting with very slow speed mineral, moving through vegetable consciousness, conscious of consciousness, up on through animal, finally on up to this level, and on further. Okay? We'll have a little quiet time, I guess. Everybody's getting very quiet. There's a lot of energy. Eyes begin to open up and you hear and you see differently. And then you're not blind any longer. You hatch. You look around, you got little wings coming out there. It's fun. And you realize that all the junk that you handled down in here and all the pain that you felt and all the hate and defensiveness and hanging on and clinging and being in hell meant absolutely nothing. It wasn't real. And here's a big band of angels reaching down their arms. Welcome, weary traveler, come on. It's that easy. It's that easy. Everywhere you go, at this stage you're being watched. And each time you turn towards that light a little bit, because here comes another one. They prune, they go through the garden, and they prune out the people waking up. Sometimes you get all tangled up with weeds down here and you converse with them and that make any difference. You're going to blossom. Sometimes you begin to blossom and look around and everybody around you's still in a bulb or in a cocoon and they're asleep. You go, what's the matter with me? I don't feel like I'm a bulb or in a... Can't these people see? Are they asleep? They're asleep. And you're waking up. But you only wake up alone for yourself. That gets kind of lonely sometimes. That's okay. There are those of us who share in your awakening. That's why we're here. Here's heaven. Here's the beautiful field of flowers. Down here, there's still the seeds. See, they have all the potential in them, huh? They're awake. Don't be that. Don't be in the nursery now. You're all graduating. I guarantee you're graduating. I wish you could see this. I have you all graduated. Whoop, there you are. This is my class. Okay? Yeah. This is a class of 26, 47, 49, 52, 78, 1. This is the eternal class. This is the only class that there is. I assure you what I said is very true. I share but a moment with you the joy of our recognized separation so that we may come to union together in truth. That's all I do. I know just a fraction of a moment ahead of you that I am you. Did you? And you go, you're right. Huh? What did we do? Made a universe. What did we do coming together? Huh? Like a zygote. Boom! Whole universe, whole new constellation, whole new cellular drive. All new consciousnesses in unity spreading out. By what? That simple recognition that you are me. Total extension. Total surrender. Total acknowledgement. Total truth. And the incredible discovery that that's all there ever was that moment. And all of you are feeling it now. And each time you feel it is the only time you can ever feel it. But each time you do, you're closer. And when you finally come whole completely, you'll say, I always knew that. How could I have forgotten? And it won't matter, because you'll know that it took everything that has occurred in space-time to allow you to maturate, to allow you to become whole. So instead of looking back on it and saying, I could have done it before, you'll say, thank you. Because then you'll know the truth of you. And you'll see that the other you was never real. Astonishing. What's happening to you right now? We'll be back with you in a little bit. Tip your head up and there's the Lord of hosts and the sun is shining and you're there. That's it. Don't die to find it. Die to self to find it. There's billions of Earths waiting for you. The whole universe abounds in consciousness. Wake up. Wake up. Here's a batch. Wake up. You're a batch here. Feel it? It's all just conscious. Just waits for you to have. Here I am. Oh. Lost in the stars. Wake up. Good tidings, great joy. Can't lose. No death. How easy will your mantle be when you come to know that truth? How joyously will you walk the earth? What a great teacher you will become when the truth becomes known unto you. You cannot fail. There is no failure. If there were, I would have told you so. What would you fail to do? So be perfect. Never mind anything else. Feel within you that power of truth. And all else is laid aside. Keep good countenance. Be prudent. Carry the truth in you. You have nothing to prove. We already know who you are. We already know who you are. Angel. Those of you who want to hang around forever can. Those of you who want to journey forth onto this path that you tread may do so. You walk a path of truth.
No matter how you struggle and strive.
And you can't walk out this door alive. It's very simple. It's incredibly simple. Simple, easy. Be joyous and loving, give everything away. Don't hold on to anything. Don't hold on. Don't hold on. Don't hold on. Let go of everything. Then you can love. Imagine the freedom of letting go of everything and love. It's incredible. There's nothing like it.